All right, everybody, get your pencils, grab your paints, collect anything you consider art supplies. It's time for Art Smackdown, the game show that makes art the cutthroat competition God intended. This week's contestants are Best Artist in the World, Kara Sketches. Last week's audience champion, The Lazy Swan. And this week's contender, Hunter Lang. With celebrity guest judge Lianna Nielson, and with me, Mark Stetson, and my co-host Aubrey Vora. Hello, everybody. Aubrey, am I bringing you in? Are you in yet? There you are. And that's not
Hey.
Lianna. Hey.
Nice to be back.
I hope so. Hold on, I need to get the right configuration in here. Something got all cocked while I was messing with Streamlabs settings. Bear with me, everybody. No. All right, come on now. Come on now.
There we go.
All right,
I'm
we got
gone,
one.
but
You're gone, and I'm gone. I know how to fix this. Trust me, everyone. I know how to fix this. It wouldn't be Art Smackdown with some kind of technical difficulties. Okay, we're getting closer.
okay,
Yes.
2 out of 3. Oh, uh-oh. No!
All right.
There could only be 2.
There can only be 2. Hold on. We're getting there. Ah, still so close. Boom.
Oh. Well,
Nailed it. There we go.
hey.
Hey! Welcome, everybody, to Art
Hey.
Smackdown. Here we are, finally here. I'm Mark Stetson. It's my co-host for the evening, Aubrey Vora, and our celebrity guest judge, Lianna Nielson. Welcome to the show, Lianna.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're able to do it. I know there's some weird scheduling snafus here and there, but we made it. They're mostly on my end. Welcome to the show. You are, so to give a little bit of an introduction of who you are, because it's a little bit of a storied past. You are currently, you're currently my nutritionist, I guess, I would say.
Yes.
But before that, you were the main actor in a commercial that we shot, that I directed for Mission Athletics.
Enduracool, cooling towel.
Yes, exactly.
I think I still have some. They were
Do you?
these athletic towels that you got them wet and they would stay cool. And me and my fake family were in all these situations where we're wearing a cooling towel that looked ridiculous.
It looked ridiculous, although I did it did work. It strangely
It worked.
It was this crazy fabric that they use on astronauts use to keep rags and things to stay cool longer. And we ended up losing that account in a really ugly way at one point, my business partner and I. But I went to visit him in North Carolina recently, and we were talking about it, and then we got into a cab, and the cab driver was using one as his mask.
No way. Well, they actually would be perfect because they had the ones that were sort
Exactly.
of like a neck, warmer.
Yeah,
Right.
but yeah. Yeah, so that was. I guess astronauts do need cold towels from time to time. Audio Gabriel. I mean, everyone knows that. No, I don't know. It was some crazy technology that NASA developed or something like that. I don't know.
No, they worked, and it was one of those in-store advertisements at Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes, and Home
Because
Depot.
for
or
years
Lowe's.
afterwards, people would be like, "I just saw you selling towels at Bed Bath and Beyond." I was like, "Oh, nice, great."
It's Duracool.
And
Duracool?
it was
Mission,
Enduracool was
cooling
was
towel.
the technology. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think I ever even. I think they gave me some some piece of merch, but
Oh no, I had hats. I had 2 or 3 of the regular towels and like a neck one. Like I left with all kinds, and I was like, what am I supposed to? I like tried to give them to people, and they're like, what is this? I don't need this.
That's crazy. Anyway, you're not doing that anymore. Now,
No,
now
not
you're
hawking towels.
no. Now you are completely speaking for myself, you have completely like changed my entire diet, my entire like sense of nutrition and how I like approach my body. Talk a little bit about what it is that you do.
Sure. So when I was an actor in my 20s, bartending and running around and not taking great care of myself, I started developing an autoimmune disease living in New York. And it was having all these crazy symptoms and seeing all these doctors, and no one could really help. And I started reading up about nutrition, and everyone was trying to throw pills at me, and it was affecting my physical health and my mental health. So I just started experimenting really with my diet and was able to reverse a lot of my symptoms. And it was this really weird moment of like, oh wow, this is really fascinating. How am I paying all this money to see specialists in New York City who are like not telling me this? I'm like, I gotta know more. So I went back to school, and for a while I was doing a lot of nutrition classes for actors and performers because it was really affecting my mental health. And I was someone who had like depression and anxiety, and I took gluten out, I reduced alcohol and sugar and all those things, and really had a huge switch and started feeling so much better. And it was one of those things where once you start feeling good, you can't shut up about it. So I started teaching this class, and over the years, it was my side gig almost, but it grew. It was like, the child you're trying to ignore that's like screaming at you while I'm like banging down the door of my acting career and like selling towels. And at a certain point, it was like, the door that's wide open with like clients and money, or the other one that like you're trying to squeeze yourself through sometimes to like do Buick commercials in Spanish. Like, let's go this way. And the pandemic really sealed the deal because I was kind of doing both of them. And, in the very beginning, production stopped for a while, and I hadn't auditioned. I hadn't taken a break from auditioning in probably 10 years, and it was so great. And then, unfortunately, but I guess fortunately for me, everyone started losing their minds because they were at home and eating poorly, and all of a sudden my business blew up, and it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So for the past couple of years, I've really sort of been full on the holistic nutrition, pathway, and it's been fabulous. And I know you and I were talking about this the other day. I've been able to bring in so much of, my creativity, and I do a lot of speaking and podcasts and workshops, and I do group workshops. And it was like, oh, all of my favorite things that I studied, including my acting training, I sort of somehow melded into a career where I get to help people feel better. And on some level, I feel more like an artist now than I ever did before, because I'm making these workshops, and I'm, really getting to connect to people one-on-one and storytell, and, people are vulnerable. And I was like, wait, these are all the best parts of being an actor without like auditioning and like all the no's. So yeah, I feel like I'm a weird like creative health artist now. But yeah, nutritionist is a better word.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just love your story, and I don't know. Well, actually, we'll get into more of it in a second. We'll get to the arting, to the self-expression challenge. Get people's just clear out the cobwebs, warm people up for the masterpiece challenge, and the self-expression challenge. Oh, and tonight the self-expression challenge is 3 minutes long. So normally at this point, we assign a self-expression challenge, which is usually a minute long. Those of you at home can absolutely do the art challenge, and then you can email it to fartsmackdown@gmail.com. That's fartsmackdown with an F, because Art Smackdown was already taken. And we will review them on the show. And then, but first and foremost, we have 3 contestants who are vying to become best artist in the world. And we will introduce them in a second. But first, we will reveal what the self-expression challenge this evening is. And it is draw you as the best version of yourself. Go.
Interesting challenge to follow this conversation.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, I love that, Lianna, as you were sharing your story, just that you're able to find you're able to expand the definition of artist and really like hone into like creativity and not limiting it to productivity, like creative productivity, which I feel like a lot of people who are in, whether you're pursuing art or acting, like you're trained to produce success and to be able to create, whether it's in the kitchen or whether it's through organizing a workshop or rethinking your diet. Like there's a lot of different ways you can keep those parts of your brain muscles toned, and that can be quite fulfilling as well, even if you don't ever like go to another audition again.
Oh,
Although
absolutely.
yeah, and I think that's the nice thing about the arts too, that whether people pursue it professionally, like even if you weren't to become a professional painter, like you still can paint, and you still can find that studio or audition for the local show and find a way to express yourself. But to really find the work that will support you and like support the person you want to become, yeah, that sometimes takes a bit more exploring. And it seems like that's what you were sharing, was like that journey of finding and becoming, which is cool.
Yeah, it's been really amazing. I feel like I'm finally in my purpose. And I fought it for such a long time because I had this one idea. Well, exactly what you said. I had this one idea of what success was, and I trained, and I had an agent and a manager, and what would this mean? Would I be failing? And it's interesting because I put together this workshop in the spring for women, and it was this sort of like something that I totally like built out of everything that I love to talk about and teach, and that has helped clients. And coming out of it, it was sort of the most brave, personal, creative thing that I ever put out into the world. And I was like, oh wow, this is also my creative voice, and this is helping people. And it's so interesting. It's like, no, I feel more like an artist than I ever did before, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, it was. I've had this with a few of my performer friends, I guess mostly, but where I've reached a point where I say, you know what, you're more interesting than the people you often play, just so you know. And it's been true. So being able to like take like all your creative talents, but like you as an individual, like your character was probably more compelling than the person selling towels
Oh my God.
and the other
Yes.
roles that you might be doing to like to get your foot in the door into this very competitive industry. But in the meanwhile, you're like building quite an interesting character of your own, which is a really wonderful asset to then carry forward.
Yeah, no, I got to the point where I was doing stand up for a little bit, and I realized like I just like being myself and talking about stuff I care about. Like I don't want to, go in for like 5 lines about like giving your change for coffee or whatever. You know what I mean? Like all of those like co-star and guest star roles for years, where it was like, gosh, this is not very interesting and the writing's not very good.
Art supplies down. All right, the 3 minutes is up. Now, email all of your art submissions to Fart Smackdown, and we already got one in from Kara Sketches, and so we are going to bring in all of the contestants one by one, and my cat is demanding that my cat was lying on my arm and is demanding that I keep it there, which makes it difficult to type. All right. So we will bring on first the current best artist in the world, Kara Sketches. Yeah, I got the right window. All right.
Yay.
Welcome
Hello.
back, Kara.
Thank you.
Of course.
Nice to be back. It was a surprise, but a happy surprise.
Yeah, well, because there's Robin. Robin was like, you know what? Kara Sketches is the best artist in the world, and no one can deny it. So let me just, I'll just step aside and let things happen as they should have gone in the first place. So
I'm sure she said that.
she did. She did. It was way more eloquent. Her vocabulary is way more robust than mine, but this is this is where we've landed, and this is you as the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
And I love
it had to be a stick figure because I was trying to figure out what bikes looked like. So that's me on a bike doing work on a laptop. So I'm getting some miles in, but I'm also doing my job. That's the both worlds.
And you are an architect, aren't you?
Yeah. So that's me reviewing submittals from subcontractors. Fun stuff.
So I know we talked about it a little bit, but I mean, it's where does your, I mean, obviously architecture, there's a lot of rendering, that goes on, but like where does your creativity, your art sort of intersect with the architecture that you do?
Honestly, it's in all phases of design, but the fun stuff is at the very beginning when you have like a pretty much blank slate and it's just like the client's ideas and the codes. But what I'm doing right now is construction administration, where you like take a problem and you have to come up with creative solutions to fix the problem because they're like actively building it and they're like, hey, you didn't draw this right, fix it. So you have to figure it out, kind of time crunch stuff.
Wow. So yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of problem solving. It's a lot of like creative
Yeah.
thinking out of the box.
Yeah, exactly. Problem solving is like the number one phrase that you use in architecture school for sure.
That's wild.
Mm.
It's weird. Like it would never occur to me to like put a laptop for a laptop to actually work and be functional on a bicycle, but that is a design that I think could actually work.
I want it. If someone could make that, I'd buy it. I want that so bad.
I feel like it might exist in stationary form, surely. Yeah.
No,
do you need to also like run errands while doing your work?
No, I don't want that.
Town.
I don't want serious brain injuries.
Yeah, the stationary. I sure this could happen if it doesn't already exist.
I mean, isn't that a Peloton?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Totally be a Peloton. That's awesome. Well, Kara, this is amazing as usual, and I ask you this every week. Well, I guess I'm not going to ask you what your strategy is. I'm going to ask you, what is there anything that you're excited for this show, or anything you're excited to try this show that you haven't tried before?
Well, I've been trying to get better at drawing people, so hopefully I get to work on that.
Right on.
Yeah.
I am never able to, like, nothing that I draw on a person is proportional or is like would exist on a human being in real life.
Yeah. I think people are hardest because you can't it's more noticeable when you mess up the proportions as opposed to an inanimate object.
That makes a lot of
By
sense.
the way, some artists decided to just embrace it and just stick with the like outer proportion look. The Picassos of this world who made a name for themselves drawing people that did not look like people.
Mm-hmm. I had an art teacher that said that you had to learn the rules before you can break them, so I think that's been drilled into my brain, unfortunately.
I had a grandma who said, never take an art class, they'll ruin your confidence. She taught me how to paint instead.
Oh, that's cute.
I totally get that. I've had acting teachers who have completely crushed my sense of like self and confidence. Well, Kara, thank you so much. This is gorgeous, and we will see you in a bit.
Yeah.
Yup. All right, next up we have Hunter Lang. Nope. Hunter Lang! Hey. Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
How's your life been since your last on the show? Tell us all about it.
A little bit darker, a little bit less colorful without Art Smackdown in my life.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, walk us through your self-expression challenge.
So the ideal version of myself is a mermaid. And I sort of arrived at that because I started at the hair. Because I always wish I had like wavier, glossier hair. And I was like, why don't I just go all the way and make myself a mermaid? And I'm holding one of my favorite foods, which is cocktail shrimp. Because like mermaids have constant access to like shrimp and seafood. And my tail is teal blue with a purple fin. Fin?
Fin.
Flapper?
Fin?
Yeah. Fin.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I don't know, Lianna, what are your thoughts?
I'm I feel like every little girl's dream is to be a mermaid and have mermaid hair. So I'm so on board. And who doesn't love cocktail shrimp? So the idea that your best self always is eating cocktail shrimp, that makes my day. I'm very into this vibe.
Something about this drawing brings me back. It's knowing the joy of doing the mermaid or fish scales. You're like ding ding ding
Mhm.
ding 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 all the way down, and I can see that that detail of like making each individual little row and how much joy that brings when doing nautically themed characters. Yeah, this is wonderful. There's such joy and such like serenity in her expression.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up. I mean, my two favorite Disney movies growing up were Pete's Dragon and Little Mermaid, and yeah, I mean the Little Mermaid was a huge thing for me growing up.
Yeah.
Probably why I married a redhead. But this is yeah, mermaids have a very very special place in my heart, and Audio Gabriel writing. Yeah, eating your cousins is some next level shit.
Oh.
I love this so much. Hunter, you've taken some time since being best artist in the world yourself.
Yes.
What type of wisdom have you picked up that you're bringing into the contest this evening?
Just not second guessing anything. I think, that was how I fell off my pedestal and learned my lesson.
I hear that. Well, welcome back. We're so happy to have you back on the show, and
I'm excited to see what your first guess is.
Oh wait. Oh no. Hold on.
Oh.
We had. Hold on. Streamlabs is. There we go. We're back.
Oh, sorry.
Well, on that note, Hunter, thank you. We'll come back to you in a second, or in a few minutes. And where are you? Now, Lazy Swan, coming to us from the future in Australia.
Hey.
Welcome back, and
Howdy.
I am excited for you to walk us through this gorgeous self-expression challenge.
Okay.
Go for it.
I just called it happy because I have best version of myself would be happy just because I have clinical depression. So I don't actually have any sort of long stretches of being happy, and if anything, I've just always had to concentrate on the really little things to be happy. And then since I've started drawing again, which is through Art Smackdown, and I was saying earlier to you guys that now I draw every day, and when I do, it takes me away, and yeah, it makes me really happy. So that's my happiest now, is that I don't tell my family.
That's incredible. I
love it.
Well, and what are you holding in the picture?
A pen and a paintbrush.
Pen and a paintbrush.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, I'm running out of time. I completely forgot the time. But yeah. I pretty much like I'm very conscious because I have resting bitch face. Anyway, when I used to employ people, I used to say to them two things. I was like, okay, two things. I have resting bitch face and I cry. And they were like, and I was like, look, so just so you know, I could start crying, and it won't be because of you. It's me. so it was good. They always knew, and I was like, and just come to me if I look like I'm just gonna bite your head off. I'm not. It's just my face.
Well, I mean, ever since the first day you were on Art Smackdown, I've always felt that you've had a very comforting and like I resting bitch face has never come to mind.
Well, yeah, yeah, I try really hard. So I think my family sees the resting bitch face, but yeah, but it makes me so happy drawing. So well, and that's I think that's one of the things that I'm trying to do more is just draw and not, as Hunter was saying, not overthink it and not, and it's actually just do what it is that I do, what I've been doing outside of this now, which is just actually using the skills I have and coming up with something that, is what I think, not what I think other people will like.
Yes.
Which is working in a career that's, I feel like you guys are sort of not at the other end, but like you guys have all this ahead of you. Whereas for me, I've worked in the creative industry and just had to always think commercially. And now it's a new thing for me to not have to worry, would someone want to buy this? Would someone want to put this on a t-shirt? And to just do the art. So yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I've actually been feeling on the other end recently, like it's been getting me down a little bit. Like there's like feeling like I'm not, like I don't have a lot ahead of me, that I'm actually like that, like career wise or like art wise, that like I've been sort of stagnant and plateaued, and I'm not gonna have it. So hearing you say that is actually was absolutely what I needed to hear.
I think
Hearing you both of you say that just shows it. And regardless of where you are in your career, you should be doing art for fun.
Agreed.
thing.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true, and it's just that thing that I always forget that when I do it, I feel calm. That it takes me out of it. So yeah, I just do I've just been doing a lot of words and just a lot of like just grey lead, my grey lead and words and a little bit of girls here and there, and and just trying not to plan it.
Yes.
Which is hard because everything I do, I always go, would this sell? It's like, who cares? Just do it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, your art consistently gives me joy, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what your masterpiece challenge is going to be, because I know what the prompt is going to be, and the more we talk about this, the more excited I'm getting about it.
It's not a superhero.
It's not. It's not.
I just need a week off the boys thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. This is. I think this will be a nice break from that. So yeah, we're gonna let you go back into the ether, and then when you come back, you will see what you've created.
Awesome.
See you in a bit.
See you guys.
All right. So now it's time to unveil the masterpiece challenge, and that masterpiece challenge is, well, first of all, just everyone, you have 20 minutes, and after 10 minutes, we're going to make you compromise your art by spinning the color wheel of compromise. And then at the end, you will once again send your submissions in to fartsmackdown@gmail.com. Now, for the masterpiece challenge itself, here it is. Draw what heaven tastes like to you. Now, Lianna, give us a little bit of context for this.
Well, as I am someone who works with people and food all the time, people are like, oh, that tastes like heaven. And I think that's different for everyone. So I would love to see what your version of like, oh, this tastes like heaven. And maybe it's just a feeling, or more something more abstract, or maybe something specific, like totally up to you. But and we've all had that moment. For me, it might be like a fresh baked chocolate chip cookie that's like the perfect softness in the middle, where it's just like your whole body's like, oh, I need to eat 1,000 of these, but I would feel horrible, so I won't. But I'll try not to, at least. But that feeling where it's just like everything inside of you is like, this is so good.
I mean, I know exactly what that is for me. For me, that is have you ever had Turkey Hill ice cream?
I don't think so.
Turkey Hill?
Turkey Hill is a brand. I think it came out of Pennsylvania.
I've heard of it.
It was growing up. It was like when my mom came home with a container of Turkey Hill ice cream. That was like, I was like, this is gonna be an incredible week and a half. So like, scoop of Turkey Hill of mint chocolate chip, scoop of cookies and cream, with crushed Oreos on top was like my go-to, and that's what like me and my dad would have as like an after dinner treat. And like that, yeah. So like, for like the nostalgia factor, and also just like that was like ice cream and being a kid for me.
Nostalgia.
Ice cream's good.
Yeah, it's an interesting criteria for what would make something heavenly, whether it triggers a nostalgic feeling for you as well. It's something that like food can do that, like smells can do that too as well, but being able to have something that not just like tastes divine, but like something that really like, yeah, brings you home in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Well, we all have such an emotional connection to food. Like
Mhm.
that, and that's what makes my job so interesting because it's like you have to go underneath. Like food is so complex for everyone, and then our bodies are these amazing things. Like we're wired to crave things like sugar, and you know what I mean. Our bodies are so smart. Not that sugar's the best for us, but in a pinch, like that's energy, and so we, you know, have these complicated emotional and biological relationships to it. So it's just not one level. And I don't know. I think at the end of the day, food should be something that is celebrated and enjoyed, and you know, it can be so heavenly. But again, it's different for everyone what that means.
Yeah, and it even becomes different, partway through your life where you become lactose intolerant and you can't have the thing as much, or at least without some repercussions anymore.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hear that.
Well,
Yeah, that's not fun.
Pig Bullets asked an interesting question earlier. He said that when I was young, no one had peanut allergies. Why is that a thing? I mean, I feel like
think
there are many layers to that question, but like I don't know what like, because I have also seen that like at least there seems to be more people who know that they have peanut allergies now, but I don't know if that was a thing or if that's been I don't know. Tell us about it.
more people have allergies in general too, and it's unfortunately because the food, like our planet, our air, our, you know, laundry detergent, the food that we eat is a lot more toxic. So like babies are born with like a lot more like stuff in their, you know, literally toxins and chemicals in the like umbilical cord. And it's, you know, we're not, this is so doom and gloomy, but um it doesn't help the development of you know, you're seeing a lot more allergies in every department. I think, I don't know why. I mean, peanuts tend to get moldy, but that is not why. I don't know why specific. I don't know why peanut led the way, because it was a lot more people were a lot more deadly allergic. But now it's like gluten, you know, gluten allergies are up, dairy allergies are up, and truly it's like kids aren't born as healthy anymore, and our immune systems, because the environment is more toxic, are so much more reactive. So you're having reactions to these foods that, well, we have so many more food like products out there where like processed foods don't necessarily look like food to our system. So you could eat something and your body doesn't recognize it as wheat, because wheat 50 or 100 years ago looked completely different without the pesticides, without the hybridization. So there's a cross section of us that are just having immune responses to the processed food we're eating. But then you add in the pesticides, and then you add in the toxic environments, and then you add things like stress and, you know, the degradation of our diet as a culture. And then babies are just getting born less healthy. So again, more immunocompromised, and more, our immune systems are more reactive. So
Wow.
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, one of the best things to do is eat as much real whole food as possible. But what that is for everyone is sort of different, because some people will do better with, you know, animal protein, and some people like more animal protein, and some people not so much, and some people, you know, whole grains and beans are better for, and some people they need more vegetables. So it really tends to be up to us to figure out what makes us feel best. Because again, everyone's so different. And then it's hard because there's so much conflicting information out there on diets and all that stuff. But truly, I just tell people, like, the more whole foods you're eating, you know, the less things that come out of a box or a package with a number of ingredients. And then the more you start paying attention to how things physically make you feel. Are you full for a while? You know, how's your energy? Are you tired? How's your digestion? Do you feel focused? Do you feel anxious? Food does all of those things to our bodies. So the more you can find the simple whole foods that make you feel really like grounded and energized, and don't make you bloated, and allow you to focus and make you feel happy, like stick to those, and your immune system won't be as reactive, and you'll feel good.
Wow. Right on. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I didn't realize, I had, yeah, I honestly did not realize all of that, or a lot of that had to do with like toxins and things that are like sort of like that we're essentially born with now because of what our parents are putting into their bodies.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like you just don't real like food is medicine. Food is information for ourselves. So every time you're taking a bite of something, you're telling your body, like, do you want to create health or do you want to create disease? Which, again, sort of dark, but also really cool and empowering. Like, it's so up to us how much we, how healthy we are, what our longevity is like. And like, you don't, like, the whole idea of like gaining weight, getting sick, and then dying is not true. Like, if you put the right things in your body and you move and you're not overly stressed and you sleep enough, you can, live to 100 and drive and think and talk with you without like being in a home and then drop dead. And it's really interesting because with the study of the science of epigenetics, which is now we have this understanding that, only 5% of our genes are set. So 95% of our genes that we have that we're born with are determined by our behavior.
What?
So,
Really?
what we're eating, what we're eating,
Wow.
our movement, the quality of our thoughts, even our community, we can sort of turn on or turn off disease causing genes, and food is one of the best ways to do that. And like, you sort of had an experience with this, with like what was going on
Yes.
with your digestion, the things you were eating, your body was like, no, this is not working for me, I'm going to make problems. And we switched it up and that all went away.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's the things like heartburn and I mean, lactose intolerance might be a little bit different, but like it's like that, like essentially, at least for me, it was like my body's way of being like, not only the things that you're putting in your body not right for you, but like a lot of the way that you're treating your body in general is not the best. So it was a cool way for me to sort of better understand how all of those things are connected, and even like mental state and my mood and my energy level and all of that. So yeah.
No,
It's pretty
this
cool.
is what where I really loved, where I started with this was working with artists, because I realized, like, once I started eating more appropriately for my body, my connection to my creativity got really strong, and my like inner knowing, my inner wisdom. And your creativity, your intuition, all of that comes out of the same part of your brain. So the more you are optimizing your physical health, the more you're optimizing your mental health, the more you're connected to your creativity. And, I would see this time and time again, working with artists, working with actors. It's like, when you start taking care, like, there's this idea of like, it's cool to be sort of a suffering artist. Yeah, sure, they can make great art, but like, you should see an artist who like takes really good care of themselves. Like, there is some really cool stuff that comes out of that. So, it's helpful on many levels.
For sure. Well, on that note, I think it's time to compromise our art. What do you?
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. This is the color wheel of compromise. And watch it as it spins. It's America's
Oh,
gift. All right. The compromise is everyone is wearing masks. Kind of a bummer, but everyone is wearing masks in heaven.
well, yeah, I'm really curious what people have drawn, because you're describing like the taste of something. So yeah, some people may have to add some
Oh
people
yeah,
in now.
yeah,
Who knows what they're drawing?
I mean, if there is no one in, if there's no person in your version of heaven, then I guess no one's wearing a mask, unless you can find
Right.
a
Or maybe like the
creative way to put
peach or the whatever it is that tastes good is very much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we can't even escape COVID, even in art Smackdown.
Listening to you share all that, like, I have a similar relationship with food. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia about 10 years ago, and it definitely like changed everything because I started with my diet. And like during pandemic, I've been living at my childhood home and allowing certain things to slip, and like the test results don't lie. Like, so now I'm having to go back and like, okay, how did I slip this far off track? And like, I think enough of it is doing what I've called smart consequences, but just doing too many of them. Like, instead of SMART goals like they do in the UK, where you create goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. You do the same thing with consequences. Like, okay, what is the consequence to this action? Like, if I eat this, what will happen to me? How long will it last? How severe will it be? How long will it take me to get over it? Is it worth it? And then sometimes I go, okay, yeah, this donut totally worth it. I'm never gonna have this chance again. I'm in this cool place. I want to try this thing. I'll have a stomach ache. I can take tomorrow off, or I can lie, but unless you're willing to make those compromises, it may not be worth it. So I just found that most of the time, over time, those little things just weren't worth it and weren't worth it. So then eventually my mouth didn't crave it. And that's often where the disconnect is. Like, as you were saying, there's the like, oh, something that tastes amazing, and I want to eat 100 of them, but I know it'd make me feel terrible. And it's interesting how we have this disconnect between the things that our brains want and crave and the things that our bodies want and crave. And it's been like little moments when I first started, when I craved kale one day, and I was like, I did it. I crave kale. I want to taste kale. It tastes good to me now. And then I tasted something that I used to love, and oh, it was repulsive. And it's fascinating how your body really can rewire itself when it gets what it needs. And there may still be those consequences that are worth it for the human experience that does come with some, tummy aches sometimes.
I agree. Everything you said is right on the money. And it's interesting because your taste buds will change. Once your body when you start feeling really good and eating the right things, your body will crave them. Absolutely. I'm the same way. It's like, oh, I need vegetables. Like I get so excited about roasted Brussels sprouts. It's embarrassing. It's like stuff like that I can get really into. But I completely agree. And is it worth it? Is something I use with my clients all the time, because sometimes it is. But I remember there was a period in my 20s where I did not want to give up dairy. I was really struggling again. Like I was in deep denial about my lactose intolerance. And finally I was on a second or third date with this guy I really liked. And he's like, let's get milkshakes. And I had to literally take a cab home halfway through the date so I didn't shit my pants. Oh, no. And I was like, okay, dairy's just definitely not worth it anymore.
No.
Literally shitting your pants on a date is not cute. And this is not worth it. This is the line.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess everyone has those moments where you have to sometimes cross the line before you know where it is.
I think most people are everyone that comes to me has been crossing the line over and over and over again until their pants don't fit or they don't feel well, and they're like, wait, help me, what am I doing? Yeah. And it's the awareness, like you said, it's creating that awareness where you can really associate, oh, kale makes me actually feel good. It makes it so much easier to pick the kale than the fun thing that tastes good for 5 minutes and then makes you want to go to bed afterwards.
Yeah, but I think that is what you also said earlier is quite important, is that what works for one body is going to be different for the next. And so it's hard because they have these fad diets say eat this, and this, and you will become this, when one thing that having fibromyalgia has helped me, one of my mantras is, well, everybody's different. And it helps because it is true. People will give you all sorts of advice, and everyone has a solution for fibro, and so being able to just understand that what worked for one person may not work for you, and really getting to know how your body works. It's your vehicle through life, and you're the one who's in charge of maintaining it throughout its life. So really getting to know how that one works is in our best benefit. But we aren't really given those tools to be that self-reflective and create those pathways for ourselves. So it's nice that other people can say, hey, try this route, or here's some things and here's some general guidelines. But yeah, it really does take, and unfortunately for many people, it takes that vehicle breaking down before we actually give it any really care and attention, because we like problem solving because it's built into us as a species. We like to problem solve, so we create problems to solve.
Oh, absolutely. No, I completely agree, and that's sort of what my job is. I truly I'm here helping you tune into you. I teach people how to listen to their bodies, and where it's sort of more holistic is when you learn how to listen to your body, to that intuitive knowing, to that inner wisdom. It doesn't just tell you whether or not to eat kale or cheese. It also tells you ooh, this job isn't working for me, or ooh, maybe this relationship isn't the right one, or I think I should go to this party, and then you meet your husband or something. It's really wild when people really get in tune with themselves in that way. You're your best inner, you're your guide in life, and being able to listen and trust that is only going to bring you to good places.
Totally. Well, take that transition to bring in the audience submissions, which we had one audience submission for our self-expression challenge. Audio Gabriel, which I'm really digging. He drew himself as Towley. Yeah, self-expression challenge.
I think that's our cool towel.
That's our cool towel.
Yeah.
I'm a
Aw.
cool towel.
Like, he's cool.
That actually
Yeah.
is the coolest towel on the block.
It really is.
Is the towel doing like a cool pose, or is the towel hugging themselves?
I feel like it's like a breakdown. Like, what's happening
Oh,
with the
yeah.
legs? I feel like there's like
I
a
see that.
dance moment
Oh, yeah, yeah.
happening there.
I think he's breakdancing.
He's like busting a move, right?
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that's what
so.
the lines coming out from the legs are. Is the motion?
Either that or it's like just like errant hairs.
It could
Around
be.
the knee.
He's just dancing so hard, the hairs are just pew 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 pew.
I always get knee hairs when I dance.
Dancing makes my leg hair go. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. I love it.
I want to put this on a t-shirt immediately.
Yeah.
Uh,
I please do, and I'll wear it around, and we'll know.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
Get it
these are the
printed on a
coolest
towel.
towels.
Audio Gabriel, if you're cool, I'm putting this on a Redbubble t-shirt.
Definitely knee hair.
Yeah. 2 minutes, artists. We have 2 minutes left.
Because of the NFED, the National Foundation of Ectodermal Dysplasias, which is an organization I support, I have tried out many cool towels because they support people who don't have sweat glands. So they're always
wow.
like, when you go to like the conferences, you come back with all like the cool new towels. That's why I wrote down. I was excited to write down this brand, see if I could try out a new one, because my brother has this condition and it's hot here right now. So being able to get him all the cool towels and the cool things, I always get geek. He doesn't get as excited about it as I do. I send him
You're
like
good.
cool shirts and he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, it keeps you cool in the summertime. Try it out.
I love it. Oh, how interesting. That would be challenging, I would think. That would be a challenging condition to have.
It certainly can be. He was born with it, so you know he
doesn't know
only
any different.
Yeah, it's and you learn to adapt. Our species is able to work with all sorts of circumstances, physically speaking, and he's always learned how to manage, and he's always kind of had to push through and do sports and do all the things. So you learn how to work with the body you have. And his body is a manual, so he's got to dunk his feet and make sure he keeps cool himself because his body won't do it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that is true. And we all, everyone has, benefits and challenges and limitations. And again, it's like learning to listen and figure out how to live life in the meat suit you were given.
Yeah. Meat suits.
My meat suit's made of pastrami. 30 seconds. 30
Well, I'm so
seconds,
excited to
artists.
see these.
Me too.
I'm very excited. After the first round, they're all fantastic.
Right?
I keep thinking about, I've been riding bikes a lot in Maine. That's like my favorite thing to do in the summer when I'm at my parents' house. And I kept picturing like, how would I balance a laptop and do this and ride a bike without killing myself? And if it was fashioned on there, but then like, I mean, I don't know. I can't stop thinking about it.
You can figure it out. With 3, 2, 1. That's all she wrote. Pencils, art supplies, down. Please send your completed masterpieces to fartsmackdown@gmail.com. You know why. You know why it's called Fart Smackdown. So did you say what would heaven would taste like to you?
No. Well, I did think about this. Like if I was taking this challenge, I think I was probably addressing myself then when I was like, oh, I might have to add a human into that because I probably would have grabbed the watercolors and it would have gotten very abstract. I would have just been like feeling into that feeling of how food that nurtures me and tastes good really like makes me alive. And I don't know if there would be any shape to it. So adding some people into it, that would be the challenge. And because I did not think about that, I don't have an answer for you as to how I'd compromise that vision. But it would be very abstract, warm, and something that kind of makes you feel nostalgic as well. Like I would look for something that makes you feel visually nostalgic. I think that's why I went to watercolors. Because I definitely, a lot of the foods that came to mind were things from my childhood that I can't eat anymore without consequences, like churros.
Churros.
So good. Yeah, I can't eat them either.
Yeah, until they come out with a gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free churro.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of hope. The sugar-free churro is also not something I really want to try.
No.
Although there's always a part of me that when see like the woman like who would hand out churros in the subway in New York. There's a part of me that was always like that. My initial instinct would always be like, yes, churros, and then of course the other part of my brain would kick in and be like, do you really want to buy churros in the middle of in the subway station? I don't remember ever having bought them. Doesn't mean I never did late night on my way home.
Yeah, churros were always like if you're so lucky to go to Disneyland, that is maybe the best reason to go to Disneyland. Is their churros.
Just for the churros?
The churros alone. Yeah. I had a friend who worked there and would sometimes like use his day off just to go in and get a churro. Because they were the best in the world. It was supposed to be the happiest place on earth, so they have to have the best churros in the world. They had a whole cart dedicated to them with like little dipping sauces, and they're always like perfectly fresh.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't know.
It's the right pull. So a churro, Mark, is the short answer. I would have drawn a churro.
That is.
Now I want one.
Yeah. Right. Well, before we go down a massive churro rabbit hole, let's bring on last week's audience champion, Lazy Swan. Welcome back.
Hi.
Lazy Swan. I am so blown away and very intrigued by what you have submitted here.
I don't know. I feel like it's a mess. There's a bit of mess there, but yeah, because my paint pens didn't dry, and then I had to do the mask, and then it all. But anyway, the first bit worked. So.
I mean, it looks like a blacklight poster I would have had in my room in college.
Yeah. So
yeah,
essentially, I think my idea of like, it's food heaven, isn't it? Would be soft drink, which I don't have in the house, except I do have a Diet Coke problem. That is soft drink. Yeah. I've given it up. It's like smoking for me. I can give it up, and then, yeah, I even go through stages where I hate it, but I love it. Ugh. I hate admitting that I love it because I hate loving it. I hate loving it.
But if there are no consequences to this, it was just the flavor that you got to enjoy. I could see you looking exactly like this when you bask in it.
Yeah. And I just like the bubbles, and it doesn't taste super sugary like the no sugar Coke and all of those things. Right. And I'm totally bullshitting myself. And I don't drink enough water. So, yeah, it's like people sort of say to me, oh, it's really bad, you know, and I'm like, I don't do anything. I don't drink coffee or tea, and I don't eat a lot of shit or anything like that. And I'm like, it's my one thing. Just let me have it. Just come on. But yeah, I don't know, that whole, it's a bit cyberpunky, her hair or something. I don't know what's going on.
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of something being heavenly, or like, I think there's something when we eat something that like takes us over that we love, that it's just like you give over to it. And I feel like there's something very emotional about this, where like that is the feeling I get, where it's like, oh, this is so good. I feel like that you've really illustrated. Like that feeling comes across to me. I totally love it. This is badass.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
This reminds me of that like
mouth.
It reminds me of that part of the kids movie where they like walk into the world where everything is made of food. I feel like there's been cartoons from my childhood where like you just bite anything and you can put your head under the waterfall and it's all made of food. That's what this person is. Just like able to like take it all in, and it's all delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, because I drew them out first before I even thought about it, and then I was like, oh, what's like the biggest thing I wouldn't want to give up that I love? And yeah, that's it. Not great.
And are those sunglasses, or is it a mask that you're wearing?
Oh, it's meant to be, because when her face was tipped back, it was just like the top of the cheeks and just a little bit of the eyelashes. So it's kind of meant to be flat. Yeah. But it does just look like a pair of cat eyes. But, yeah.
No, it looks like a masquerade mask.
Yeah, I did try and do a feather, and I was like, oh, the paints were just going everywhere, and I just thought, nope, just stop.
Audio Gabriel
yeah.
wrote, I see this as a portrait of David Bowie eating Kraft mac and cheese.
I love it.
Yeah, I love David Bowie.
And Kraft mac
that
and cheese is pretty good.
Yeah,
Pig
yeah.
Bullets
I'm
wrote,
not in. Yeah, no, you go.
I was saying, Pig Bullets wrote, I don't eat carbs. I will eat all of your bomb pops. If you're referring to like those like frozen like icy pops, those are the bomb.
Is that the little ball things, or just a stick?
I think it's just like a stick that looks like a rocket.
Oh, like a Calippo.
yeah.
We had ours called Calippo. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, this is incredible. And yes, Audio Gabriel also wrote, and I would totally agree. I would totally order a taco from any truck with this painted on the side.
I'm with that. I'm in.
Thanks.
Love it.
It is dope.
Thank you.
It is very punk rock for sure. Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Lazy Swan, and we'll bring you back on in a couple minutes.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
And next up, we are bringing on the challenger. Come on. There we go. Hunter. Welcome back.
Hi. Lazy Swans was amazing. Oh my god.
Right?
Yeesh.
Well, yours is dope too. Let's check this out. Walk us through this gorgeous piece of art.
So, I just thought about what makes me happy to eat, and I love to cook, and so the things that I love to eat are usually things I cooked. And my boyfriend and I make pasta all the time, like probably a little bit too much. We have one of those hand cranked pasta makers.
Amazing.
So we are together in a church here because of heaven. And I'm rolling out the sheet of pasta, and he's cranking it, and there's kind of like a stregonona effect happening where the pasta's like multiplying inside the church.
That was the first thing that came to mind. I'm like, I have such Stregonona vibes. I'm really here for it. I love. I wanted to be like, is anyone else gonna remember Stregonona? But I'm glad you said that.
Well, after mermaid, stregonona is the thing I most want to be.
I love it. I love that it's in church too. Like Stregonona vibes in church.
And I don't really go to church that much, so but maybe I would if there were this much pasta in church.
Oh man, I'm a Jew, but an atheist more so, or I don't know. But this would I would go to church every day of the week if there was pasta like this.
Mm-hmm.
Homemade pasta, especially, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Fresh, yeah.
I like that in your rendition, it is not just the taste, it is the process of creating it
Yes.
as well. And I know that, I see that you guys are like sitting at a table doing this. When it does also look like you could be sitting in bed, and I like the idea of you guys like in the like bed knobs and broomsticks kind of bed, just turning out pasta.
Oh man, that would be creative only.
Can you imagine how much different Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory would be if all the 4 grandparents who were stuck in bed were just making homemade pasta all the time?
Turning out pasta.
I mean, they've got the time. We might as well crank out some pasta.
Yeah.
I completely also saw them in bed. Like I was like they're in bed at church eating pasta. Like I love it. Everything is so comfortable. Like God is shining down through the church on them, like saying like, "Wow, your pasta's amazing."
Yeah, there are so many ways to use pasta in bed too.
So this is wonderful.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say about it other than what we've just riffed on.
I just like that it's all under the bed now. I mean, I know it's a table, but it's like there's so much pasta that's like piling up underneath.
The bed is an improvement for sure.
I mean, what's more heavenly than eating pasta or making and eating? And I like the process that you pointed out too, the fact that they're making it, because there is something so wonderful and creative and meditative about cooking and making things with your hands, and that also is heavenly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, 100. This is awesome. We will. Don't go too far. We'll bring it back on in just a couple minutes.
Thank you.
And last but not least, bringing on last week's, the past 4 weeks, best artist in the world, Kara Sketches.
No.
This is another one of my heavenly foods as well, I believe, if it is what I think it is. Walk us through it.
So this is me after a long bike ride or run, eating a guilty pleasure of mine, which was a very specific sandwich in Ann Arbor. It was a fried chicken sandwich from Grizzly Peak. It was like the only restaurant we went to during the pandemic, but it's the only time I'd allow myself to eat something like that is after a really good workout because it tastes so much better and you don't feel as guilty. And yeah, I mean,
I
it
need you
might
to
be.
describe the sandwich.
Yes, I
like,
was
what's
about to ask
on
the same
it?
question.
Like, please,
Yeah.
like, walk us through this experience of
no.
the sandwich so we can all be and make it up. We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I mean, it was like a burger, but with like a really good creamy sauce on it and huge chunks of fried chicken. And I think there was definitely like nice crunchy pieces of lettuce, which is a big like important thing to me because I like to have a little bit of freshness in those sandwiches, you know. And then the big chunks of chicken with nice. It wasn't like soggy at all. And then I think it also had bacon. I think.
Ooh, bacon makes everything better.
Oh,
I'm the
yes.
creamy sauce. You had me at like fresh lettuce, bacon, creamy sauce, and like crispy fried chicken. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, they did a great job with their fried chicken sandwiches. I kind of miss it.
I
must
love
say,
this.
If
Go
I
ahead.
saw this person, I would be also just so intrigued as to how they would even eat this
Yes.
sandwich wearing a mask like that.
Unless the mask
you've
has
gone
a-
the direction
has-
of giving
yeah.
them a mask over their mouth rather
Yeah.
than over their face, as the other two have. But it did you not specify. So I like that. Did you decide what kind of sandwich it was before or after you added the mask?
Oh yeah, I had this drawn like really early on, and then I was like, well, I'm not drawing people in the background. I'm too stubborn to compromise that far, so I just
Nice.
Well,
gave
it
myself
would
a
take a
mask.
stubborn person to commit to this sandwich with a mask on. So you need
Yeah.
that stubbornness.
My first thought is that that mask must have a butt flap. It's just logic.
Mm.
You just
I think maybe
bolt
I
down.
was too tired after the bike ride, so I forgot to take it off, and then I just went straight into
Just
the
went
mask.
straight in.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. Is that an M
So
on your
good.
dress?
Are you?
Yeah,
or
I
is that a
tried-
towel?
I
Are you
tried
also?
to add the towel.
That's the
last
mission
second.
towel. Did you look it up? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I did look it up.
Oh my god, that's incredible. What?
There's a picture of Serena Williams wearing it.
Yeah,
So,
I did
gotta
that
have
shoot.
it.
Oh,
Or
Drew Brees.
yeah, those were
We talked about her.
Yeah. The last shoot we did was the Serena Williams shoot, where it was after that they were like, we have someone else that we'd like to work with. It was a deal, but that is such a great callback.
So good. I know. I was like, is this like a signature thing? Oh, and it's like the color of the towel. I mean, I had a Mission cooling towel that looked like that. I think I probably do somewhere.
Yeah.
Amazing. Nailed it. You nailed it.
Thanks.
Well, okay. So what we're gonna do now is bring everyone back in, and Lianna, if you have any questions, anything you would like for them to clarify, to help you make a decision, now is the time.
I just want, bring them all back. I just want to look at. I mean,
Bring them all back.
this is so hard. They're all so great, different.
Do you have an idea of what you would use the art for? Do you think?
Oh,
That's a good question. Like what type of function would it serve?
ooh.
Like that.
I didn't when you said mask, I just thought of a mask.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's actually
I don't
really
know why. We've been wearing them like 2 years or whatever.
for me, it was actually so refreshing to see that was what you chose, as opposed to the mask that has just represented so much just awfulness and
Yeah.
drama.
No, I completely agree. I was like delighted that was the mask as well.
Okay. Cool, cool.
Yeah, when I also like I really I guess I'm glad I didn't do this challenge. I don't know what I would have come up with, but like the first thing that came to mind was one of those like neutral drama masks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I'm looking at pictures.
That's actually pretty great, also.
The Greek tragedy.
Yeah, everyone still has a different association mask. That's nice.
There's also there's a poll in the chat. Votes are still coming in, but ultimately, Lianna, you can choose to let this poll either influence you or not. It's just sort of let you know where the chat's head's at. We'll give it a couple more minutes before I let you know what those results are. Let a few more votes come in, but yeah, go for it. Any other questions that you might have?
Oh, I'm just sort of taking it all in. You guys are all so talented. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I like Audio Gabriel. Mask doubles as a napkin. That's huge.
That's huge.
He had the fried chicken sandwich, and it looks like you would need one because it's like so juicy.
Mm.
And fresh pasta. What kind of pasta? I mean, is it just like spaghetti that you normally make? Like, what's your go-to when you make the fresh pasta?
We usually make spaghetti, but we've dabbled in like capitelli,
Ooh.
ravioli. Yeah, we've
No big
dabbled
deal.
in but our go-to is
Cavatelli.
just
And what do you put on it? Like, so we have the pasta. What are we saucing it with?
if it's winter time, usually like I'll make like a tomato sauce with like the canned tomatoes. But we've also been making pesto in the summer. Maybe I think like the tensest we've ever been is when we were making a butter sage sauce, and he thought I used too much butter in it, and I was like, how can I? It's butter sauce.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
That's still like I think the closest we ever got to breaking up, but
Absolutely understandable.
Was he wrong?
No better
Was
reason.
it a delicious butter sage sauce?
it was perfect in every way. Could have used more butter even.
There's a spot in the East Village that when we lived there, called Il Bagato, which had the best butter sage ravioli that I've ever had. And I think it's still there. So that was you saying butter sage like in a pasta setting brought me back. I have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to food, as you may or may not have recognized.
Everyone. I think everyone does.
Yeah. So,
Hunter, can I ask? So in this world that you've created, how is a sauce made? You make the pasta in this wonderful little church in bed. Where's the sauce?
Oh yeah. I guess we would also have to make the sauce in bed because we won't get out of bed.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get like a little burner going. Totally safe. Just chopping up things.
And hey, if you spill, you just change the sheet. It's
Exactly.
no big deal.
Yeah. Hey, a sheet can also be a napkin.
Exactly. Mask napkin, sheet napkin. This is some sexy pasta we're getting into at church. So very risque.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Again, this is a church I would attend. Maybe the only kind. Sexy pasta church.
Same.
So as of right now, of the votes that have come in, Lazy Swan has 67% of the votes. Hunter has 33%, and Kara Sketches so far has 0, but there are only 3 votes that have come in so far. Also, for those of y'all in the chat, starting next week, this poll is actually going to carry a lot more weight in the voting decision-making process as who wins best arts in the world. But we'll get into that next week. But just so you know that this poll will be way more important as things move forward. So yeah, Lianna.
I'm ready.
Okay, lay it on us.
Well, I loved I mean, I love all three of these. Like, this is not easy. I think they all are fantastic. I love that the towel ended up as part of this challenge. Like, 10 gold stars for that. I'm never gonna think about pasta again without being like, why are we not making this in bed? But I must say, Lazy Swan, you brought it home for me. I mean, there was something really emotionally evocative about that. Like, truly, where it was like, I know that feeling that you drew. Like, I know what it's like to put that thing in your mouth where you're just like, more, pour it all over my face. And that feels heavenly to me. But you guys are all great. But yeah, that one takes the cake for me. The
Thank
delicious,
you.
delicious cake.
Well, congratulations, Lazy Swan, the new best artist, and once again, best artist in the world.
Ara, you'll always be the best artist for me.
Thanks.
So Australia takes the gold, and
Oh yeah.
and we will see you back next week. But before that week happens, we're going to spend the next few minutes. I'm going to bring up the audience submissions. There's only a couple this week, which is not bad. So we'll actually get out of here tonight, likely well before 11:30, which is crazy. Okay, so first up is Audio Gabriel. Food heaven. This is where all dogs go, and also me. Diving into a massive bowl of ramen.
So good.
This is just this is incredible. Audio Gabriel, what's like, is there a ramen place that like takes the cake for you, or is it just ramen in general? Did you grow up making, like, do you make it yourself? Would love to hear that, to see that in the chat. But I mean, this is, I love, is that like a fire? Oh, is that the sun behind them, or is that a fire? I have questions.
Right. Is the ramen spicy?
Spicy.
Ooh, ramen ya. Where is that in Connecticut, or is that in the village?
Oh, okay, good. I'll put it on the list.
Bingo. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't a huge ramen fan growing up. Like for me, ramen, the equivalent of it was like instant lunches, like the instant ramen, which is I came to understand way too late into my 20s that is not real ramen. And that at real ramen
Or really real food at all.
or real, yeah, it's just sodium and sadness.
I had a lot of fights with a friend in high school because she would insist on getting the ramen that had the little mini shrimps in them, and they would like blow it up. I felt so odd. I was like, "This isn't natural. How can you support this?" You see this little thing just go, kind of like those little like sponge animals you see that as a kid. Came in a pill.
Capsule, like a dinosaur. Yeah, no, don't eat that.
No, absolutely not.
No.
And the next and final one, actually, there's only 2 submissions this evening.
Those are sea monkeys, actually. That's what Audio Gabriel said.
Oh, amazing.
That feels right. That feels right.
That feels accurate. So this is some VR action for you. This has been created just this evening based on this prompt. His description is, this has to be what I call Jesus potatoes. I call them that because I believe these are the sin he died for. They are made in the Instant Pot with Parmesan and horseradish. Cheesy, spicy goodness.
Wow, I'm impressed. They sound delicious.
Yeah.
Quite an alluring steam that's coming off of it. It's like a sacred light around these angels.
They look like surgeons. They look like angel surgeons.
Who are saving the
God.
potatoes. And they have masks on. Oh my gosh.
Big Bullet said, "Don't make the mistake of getting udon." What's wrong with udon? I think I've had it. Are those the
Maybe
thick
it's
noodles?
just not as good as the ramen. Yeah,
Yeah,
but maybe the ramen's better at ramen now.
maybe.
Oh my
Um,
god.
so that's it. Those are our submissions for this evening. So both of those are going to be finalists for audience champion, and then we will reveal who the audience champion is during Casual Thursday, which, surprisingly or not, is this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Contestants, Hunter, Kara, thank you so much, as usual, for just bringing the artistry. And Lazy Swan, congratulations, and we will see you on Monday. Let me see if I know. Oh, I do know who is going to be the judge and things this next week. Oh, next week the guest judge is Nick Carrillo from Puffs and other fantastic pieces of comedic art in New York. And Frankenbabe is going to be the guest host next week.
Oh, awesome.
And the rest will be determined, other than, obviously, the best at art, which is Lazy Swan. Lianna, where can people find you, and if they want to contact you for what you do and what you offer?
Sure. Either Instagram or my website, same thing. Healthy by Lianna, Lianna. That's my IG handle or my website.com. And yeah, come say hi if you feel like you need some support and you want to listen to your body and you want to understand how to optimize your physical and mental health. I'm your girl.
Hell yeah. Well, if anyone has anyone that they would like, anyone on Twitch that we should raid at this point, now that the show is ending, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, thanks everyone, and we'll see you hopefully on Thursday, if not on Monday.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was so great.
Of course.
Everyone's so awesome. I love it.
Well, doodles, everyone. Doodly-doo. Good night.